What's going on, swim fans? In this video, we are analyzing Olympic gold medalist Ryan Murphy's backstroke technique. I've got all the footage right here. We're gonna look at his technique both above and below the water. We're gonna look at his backstroke start. We're also gonna take a look at the Dryland training that he's doing in the weight room. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna do an analysis on his 45.3 high school 100-yard backstroke swim and also his 43.49 100-yard backstroke American record. So don't go anywhere. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome to MySwimPro, where we share the latest and greatest to help you improve your performance and health both in and out of the water. So if you guys are new to the channel and you're looking to take your swimming to the next level, you've come to the right place. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments what you think of Ryan Murphy's backstroke technique. And without further ado, let's begin the video. Ryan Murphy is one of the most powerful backstroke swimmers that we've ever seen. He goes up there with the greats of Lenny Krayzelberg, Aaron Pearsall. And when we take a look at his backstroke technique, I want to start underneath the water. He's doing a lot of things right. He's swimming with a lot of power. Let's go ahead and break this down. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get to the right point of the stroke. I'm going to zoom in. And what I really want to do is I want to show you guys a couple things. Firstly, we're going to look at his body line. So that basically means there's a line. I'm going to draw a better line than that, actually. We're going to draw a little bit more straight. It cuts through the middle of your body. And, you know, this angle is a little tough to see, but basically you want to be swimming in a straight line. And that starts with your head position. If you look at his head, his eyes are looking at the ceiling. When we look above the water, we're going to see the same thing. Let's look at his hand entry. I'm going to use an arrow to describe that. His arms are entering the water at shoulder width. That's 11 and 1 o'clock if you're using the arms of a clock. This is super important because if you take a look at how his hand is positioned to catch the water, he's basically already setting up a pinky first entry, and that is allowing him to initiate that early vertical forearm, which, yes, early vertical forearm applies in the backstroke as well. And if we just move a couple of frames over, we can see what that early vertical forearm looks like. He's gonna bend the elbow and power. I think we're actually gonna see it in this side a little bit easier. Yeah, so you can see right there what he's doing with his hand. His forearm is like a paddle, and he is just pulling the water. If you remember that line that cuts down the middle of the body, that body line is so important, and it starts with your head position. So I'm going to show you guys above the water. He's looking up. He's got a relatively short, fast kick. He's pointing his toes in the direction he's trying to go. The total amplitude of his kick, these are the two. I'm going to use a different color, actually. Let's go ahead and use a blue. So this is the amplitude of his kick. It's relatively small. You want to keep that amplitude small because if you increase your kick too much, and let's say his legs were to go outside of those blue lines, then it would actually increase your propulsion, but also increase your drag. And you don't want to do that. Let's take a look at his pull on the other side. I'm actually going to zoom out. It might make it a little easier to see. And there it is. Let's see, right there. And let's put it in slow motion. Take a look at that backstroke technique. Yep, and you can see how he's engaging the water, rotating side to side, and he's pulling with that paddle from your fingertips all the way to the elbow. Is pretty much a straight line. That's why it's so important to hit the water with your pinky first. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen, and let's pause right here. I want to zoom in on that pull position. Now, it does look like his wrist is kind of at an angle, if you guys can see that right there. So ideally, you want to be positioned in a way that from your middle finger all the way through your elbow is a straight line. So right now, it does look like actually he's kind of a little bent right there. That's fine. And if you look, his opposite shoulder is actually coming out of the water. That's why you rotate side to side. So you kind of pop that shoulder out of the water, and then you want your arm to come out straight out of the water. And it looks like he is positioning this arm to do exactly that. This is actually a really good freeze frame to see that body line I'm talking about, because what you can see is the total amplitude of his kick is really small. It's inside of his body line. You want to stay inside of this right here, because if you extend outside on the kick, it's going to slow you down because you're going to increase resistance. Remember, water is 800 times more resistive than air. Now let's go look at his stroke above the water, because I think that's where you can actually see a lot of these things. Let's just zoom out. Now, again, we talk about head position. Let's put this in slow motion. Yeah, there we go. entering the water, pinky first. There it is. So if you notice, the thumb comes out of the water first, but the pinky is what's going to enter the water. And it looks like he's entering a little narrow, actually. So if I were to kind of put an arrow where this arm should be extending, it should be about there. And I think, yeah, he's entering a little bit narrow. I don't know if you guys saw that. Let's go back a couple. Oh. Yeah, he's entering a little narrow. So it looks like he's actually hitting the water about right here. And if you want to increase your tempo, then you want to have a little bit wider. It should feel like you're swimming like 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock actually, even though you're supposed to enter at 11 and 1. So it just goes to show, even the best in the world have little things that they can always work on improving. Now, one thing I really want to show you guys is the head position. So he is looking up, right? He's looking at the sky. But in fact, his head position is actually not that flat. He's really powering through the water. He would actually benefit if he looked more up, because right now it looks like he has an angle. I think we see it in the next shot. You can see what I'm talking about. That's slow motion. He's a little narrow on the entry. You want to be a little bit wider than that, and he's kind of muscling through. He's a very strong swimmer. When we do the dry land, you're going to see that. Yeah, so let's look at the next, we don't want to go to the start. I want to show you guys the head position. I think there's another angle. There it is. Yeah, right here. All right, I know there's a lot of waves, kind of bear with me. Let's look at the angle of his head. So if we look at his eyes are actually looking, would you guys agree that's a fair arrow of where his eyes are looking? Let's put an angle to his head position relative to the water, right? That's the line. And there we go. Now I know it looks like 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees to his face, but the water line is actually more like that. So maybe he's 65 degrees. Or yeah, 66 degrees. So remember, the body line is right here. This is the body line. Now I know it's not perfect, this is the angle and everything, but if he were to lift his eyes a little bit more up and look at the sky, look at the ceiling, basically his entire head, instead of that's his head position, his head needs to be in that line. What's gonna happen is his hips are gonna go higher. Now again, Ryan Murphy is a very strong swimmer, so he's really powering through the water, on top of the water. If you're not Ryan Murphy, which you're not because you're watching this video, and if he is watching this video, awesome, what's up, Ryan? You want to make sure that you're lifting your hips up as much as you can, and your head position is how you control that. This is the #1 mistake that beginner and advanced swimmers, quite frankly, make in backstroke. It's not having a good head position. You want to be able to balance a cup right on your forehead, and you can still actually have too high of a body position. Most of your cap should be underneath the water. Look at the head position. You want to get most of your cap underneath the water. You want to rest back, pop your belly button up, even with that rotation. So those are some of the technical elements of the backstroke stroke. Now let's get into the part that you guys have been waiting for. If you're a more advanced swimmer and you're doing backstroke starts, play that in real speed. Let's look at his start in real speed, then we're going to break it down and we're going to do it in slow motion and talk about how his start is so good. Here we go. This I think is at US Nationals. Wow, what a work of art that is. Here we go. We're gonna break it down in slow motion. So if you notice, a couple things here. I'm gonna zoom in just to focus on the body positioning. So right away, if you notice, he's got a wedge, and that helps support your feet. You've gotta keep your ankles underneath the surface of the water. Some part of your foot has to be, like your heel has to be underneath the surface of the water. The next thing we're gonna look at is the hand position. So let's look at the hand position. You want your hands positioned with your thumbs pointing up because you want to be able to release and get your hands into streamline as quickly as possible. Next up, I want you guys to pay attention to where his eyes are looking. His eyes are looking directly in front. He's not looking down at his feet. He knows where his feet are. He's looking directly in front of him. And now this is the most important part. He has attempted, at least, to position his body as vertical as possible. Now right now he is at a slight angle, but the closer he can push his butt into the wall so that he's in like a squat position, then it'll be a lot easier to explode off of the start. So if your face, or like, you know, if this line was right here instead, you know, instead of this line, it was this line, then you have to just travel that much further. Instead, we're trying to go that way, right? So it's really important that you position yourself in a way that you can explode when the gun goes off. So let's clear this and let's go fast forward a little bit. And so there's the beep, or the go by his coach. Where's Dave Durden at? And so if you notice, the transfer is immediate. Okay, so he's going immediately backwards. There's no like hesitation. He's not pulling himself in. He's already in a position that allows him to explode. Like you're in a jump squat, ready to go position. And that helps with the wedge, of course. And if you notice now, his eyes are looking back. He's trying to get his body into a nice arch position, and he's trying to get his hands to streamline as quickly as possible. We're gonna go ahead and just kind of fast forward a little bit. Now, if you notice, this is truly a work of art, guys. This is art. Look at that. He's in streamline. That's probably the most important thing. A lot of swimmers don't even get to streamline. And then his body is going to enter the water through a hole, which is probably somewhere about there. And his entire body is going to fit through the same hole, all the way from his fingertips to his toes are all going to enter in that same box that I just drew right there. Let's see if he can do it. We're gonna watch it. Okay, whoop. So the box has been created. He's created a nice little hole. Actually, you know what? Box is probably not a good way. Let's go ahead and illustrate this with a circle. Ta-da! He's got a circle, and the smaller you can make your circle, the less water you're displacing and the more momentum you're gonna be able to carry into the water. So his entire body now is fitting inside of this circle. It's incredible. Let's go ahead and clear the screen and keep watching. Yep, and point the toes at the end. And you can just see how much momentum that carries you underneath the water. Let's watch it one more time in real speed and then move on. Boom. The whole body enters through a small hole. Now let's talk about the Dryland. Obviously this man is jacked. Look at this. Woo! So how does an elite swimmer like a Ryan Murphy train in the weight room? This is a great spot by Men's Health. Thanks, guys. Oh, doing weighted pull-ups. Now we're doing something. Okay, weighted pull-ups. Ooh, prisoner pull-ups. Excellent. So you might be thinking to yourself, like, why would you do that? So if we just look at the physique, obviously in backstroke, any swimming, the lats are really important. There's a lot of upper body engagement. And when you're as strong as someone like Ryan is, you need a little bit more resistance, because just normal pull-ups, you can crank out like 10 and it's like a joke. And so you want to add in some more creativity, a little bit more weight, a little bit more resistance. I think this comes back a little bit later. That's a great drill. Pull-ups are awesome. Upper body strength, shoulder, and here's a couple different variations. Clean and jerk, doing some Olympic explosive lifts. Let's see his technique. All right, there's a clean. Jerk, yeah, the jerk was okay. Yeah, clean Olympic lifts, you want to be really fast and explosive. I love this. Physio, ball, scorpion. That's a great one. That's very difficult. He's making it look very easy. A lot of core rotation, core stability, very important in the long axis strokes like freestyle and backstroke. And I think this is in his house or something. Look at that. Doing weighted pull-ups with, look at that. He's like a rock climber grip. Very difficult. Okay, here's the race. All right, we're going to watch Ryan Murphy. He's in the middle of the pool, and he is going to go a 45.3. If you're not familiar, he is from the Bowles School down in Florida. Absolutely destroying the field, because this is high school, and he's going a 45.3. That's insane. So you might be thinking, how did he go from a 45.3 senior year of high school to going a 43.4 senior year of college? And I actually think it's two things. And I'm going to point it out on this third turn. He obviously was really fast above the water, fast below the water. I think about half of his improvement came on this part right there, the turn. Taking the last stroke into the wall, flipping over, and then pushing off. When we watch him go 43, it's very clear he has improved significantly in getting over his body and getting into the flip. I think the other half is simply getting physically stronger, and also, working underwater, just getting more proficient on top of the water, just getting more powerful and fast. Here it is, right in the middle of the pool, 45, this is a 43.49. I'm gonna have to actually pause the video at the 15-meter mark. If you notice, gentleman from Alabama is in the lead at 15 meters. Absolutely amazing. I mean, I think he ended up going like a 44 or something. It's still really fast. But just goes to show that you can be the best in the world overall in the race, but there's always elements that you can improve. And this guy right here from Alabama, I mean, wow. Hats off to you. If you look at the 15-meter mark right there, I mean, Ryan Murphy's about there. I give him, maybe a half of a head. And he carries that speed into the flags, actually. These guys are neck and neck. Now, it's really important what I mentioned. Watch how fast Ryan goes into the first turn. This is how he separates himself from this gentleman from Alabama. If you're a Cal Golden Bear, let me know in the comments. If you're from the SEC, let me know in the comments. If you don't know about any of that stuff, just let me know how fast you think this Ryan Murphy backstroke is. So here we go, into the turn. Boom, what happened? Now all of a sudden he's half a body length ahead as they push off the wall. Gentleman from Alabama, again, right there with him on the underwaters. But on top of the water, he's just so fast at taking the last stroke onto the stomach, out in a 20.9. My God, that's fast. And he just maintains and extends the lead all the way through. And that's how he put together a 43. I think he went 43.5 in the prelims as well. So, you know, that's just a monster swim. And it really wasn't because he has these incredible underwaters or just insanely fast backstroke. He's just good everywhere through it, and he's especially the best at the very end, turning into the wall. So I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis of Ryan Murphy's backstroke technique. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you're looking for swim training programs or dryland training programs, make sure you download the MySwimPro app available for iOS and Android. And if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, really appreciate it. Also, be sure you're in the MySwimPro Facebook group. This is an incredible group, and it's 100% free to join. We have thousands of swimmers from all over the world who are in there, passionate about getting better at swimming. So if that sounds like you, make sure you join that group. It'll be linked in the description below. As always, hope you enjoyed the video. Happy swimming, and have a great day.